The savages that lynched my great-great-uncle Garfield did not wear a mask and was calling each other by name during this heinous act. The lynch mob gained access to Garfield while in police custody. What happened to his protection? Garfield was buried in an unknown land and never had a proper burial. As I mentioned earlier, my ancestors didn't even retrieve the body because of fear of something was going to happen to them. We, the family of Garfield King, would like to give him the burial he so deserved. The state of Maryland is ultimately responsible for the lynching and death of my ancestor, James Garfield King. No one to this day, 124 years later, has been held accountable. Who goes into a jail and is dragged out and lynched on the jail lawn? But nobody was identified. The King family deserves justice. Our family has been in fear and terrorized for 124 years. Nothing has been done by the state of Maryland, and he was in the state of Maryland's custody when this happened to him.
Grammy used to sit us as her grandchildren at her feet to tell us the stories, and they were horror stories for us as children. We didn't know how to filter them, but Grammy made sure that we listened to every word. She did not like Princess Anne when we were growing up, and she didn't understand why many of the Black African-American Negro folks wouldn't just get out of there. She said, I can never forget what happened here with my cousin George. She said not only did they lynch him, they destroyed him. They destroyed a whole family. And she wanted to keep that from happening to us. The mother, Etta, was never the same again. There were others in the family also that were never the same again, and Grammy tried to prepare her grandchildren for this cruel world. She told me, as the oldest of her 7 grandchildren, she says, I want you to leave this place as soon as you're able. If you're ever gonna make something out of yourself and your life, you're gonna leave Princess Anne, because no human being, that's how she felt, should live the way that we, as we were called Negroes at the time, should live like we had to live. And I am here today on the shoulders, the backs of those who suffered so much, so long. So because they felt helpless and hopeless, they were trying to plant in those of us who came after a way where we wouldn't feel that. They wanted us to go out, and they wanted us to be better and to do better, and they wanted us to have hope, and they wanted us to see the world through different eyes, because the eyes wherein they saw the world was one of a lot of pain and sorrow.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to speak to the ongoing trauma, the continuous mental trauma, the pain in the eyes of the older folks, the pain in the eyes of the younger folks who don't know, won't know, may never know. That damage can't be monetized. That damage likely won't be ever healed in any way that could make up for the many, many lives that have walked this journey continue to walk this journey, and we see in the eyes of the young people the pain that they experience. Those gentlemen that we spoke about today, those families that are still trying to figure out what happened in their families. I have family members in my family tree who disappeared. I have always felt, for whatever reason, that the stories that people in my family only hinted about, but never really expressed, were stories of something that was just too horrible to speak about. And let's just put our heads down and keep on moving. But the pain is still there. So at some point, we do need to talk about it and figure out the way forward. And that involves all of us.
I was at my office in Michigan and received a Facebook message request from someone I did not know, but I happened to be online when it came through, so I clicked it. It was from a woman named Jennifer Lyles, who told me she was a public historian with the Maryland Lynching Memorial Project. My heart rate elevated instantly and rapidly. Though I had never known it before, in that moment, I think I did almost know what I was about to read. That I am a direct line descendant of the leader of a racial terror lynch mob. My name is Juliette Heinley, and I am the great-great-granddaughter of Milton Walters Offutt, now known as the perpetrator in Howard Cooper's murder. The innumerable events of documented police and civilian brutality on Black and brown people over the last 10 years opened my eyes to my privilege and the racialized structures that uphold it. Since learning my connection to Howard Cooper, I can see and feel in a deep new way that there is no distance between me and white supremacy. I am changed by the power of this truth, and I am in awe of the archive that brought this truth to light. Because it is due and deserved that Milton Walters Offutt not have the privilege of anonymity in this injustice any longer. And that I have no illusion that my reality has not benefited by his actions. When Milton Offutt thought of Katie Gray, he thought of people like me. I am relieved that the crime of Howard Cooper's murder is no longer unresolved, that his perpetrators are no longer in control of his legacy. I am so grateful to this commission, to this coalition, to the researchers on this project, and to everyone in this room, and everyone who is part of this work, showing the rest of the country what this can look like.